Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Annalise. Today I'm part of the Crafty Fun with Friends, not a card collab with Avi Handcrafted and her crew. We are having a little bit of fun creating things that are not a card. I am making these mouth art UTE tags. I'm going to have a little bit of fun and show you what I decided to create and how these two tags differ from each other. We're going to both be doing the same steps for both cards, but then we're going to change it up to have different outcomes. One more grunge looked and one more a little bit more delicate. So we are starting with a lilac piece of cardstock and a template. This template, I believe, is by Vicky Patine. I love it. It's a Monstera leaf, and I'm just taping it from the back. This is, I think it's a 5x7 stencil, if I'm not mistaken. I am going to add a few different shades of green. These are all dye-based inks, and I am not being super picky. I am not covering the whole thing. I am doing, again, like I said, different colors of green and browns all over. It's not very precise coloring because what I'm looking for is just a gradation of color and gradation of texture for our end result for this. I have sprayed with water the template after I pulled it out, and now I'm just making just extra markings with the leftover water that was on my template. I'm just cleaning up my template to keep having a little bit of fun. My Versamark ink, and I added some white embossing powder that I removed most of it with my hands so it's not obvious the lines that it created with the Versamark pad, and I am just going to melt all this white powder on top of my stencil background. Now that our embossing powder, the white embossing powder, is all melted, I'm going to give you a close-up look of it. I am going to come and with my Versamark pad, and I am going to cover the entire paper with Versamark and then ultra thick embossing enamel, which is the UTEE. And here I am, just pressing it really hard so I make sure that the entire panel is covered with ink. I feel that it's easier and more gentle on the pad to actually press it down than to rub it. And I'm just cleaning everything with rubbing alcohol so there is no extra Versamark enamel, Versamark paint all over. And here I am just covering the entire panel with the UTEE, which is an embossing powder that is not as fine as the regular embossing powders that you use. So here you can see that some areas are really, really white, and that's where we have the white from the embossing powder. So we're going to bring the heat gun and melt this. You will notice that I did not grab this, so I'm trying to hold it with my tweezers. You'll see little pieces of speckles that they just fly away. It's okay. I'm just trying to get as much as I can melted so it cools down and then I can grab it from that area. I am going to melt the entire panel with my heat gun, and then we will do the next step. You'll see that I am trying to make sure that everything is nice and melted. Here is all melted. It looks like almost like it's wet. It's like droplets. And then we are going to do another layer of the Versamark. And this is another way that you could get the Versamark into your paper, which is bringing the actual paper to the Versamark instead of the Versamark to the paper. And I am just grabbing all that leftover UTE that was in the um, the snappy tray. And this time I am gonna hold my panel with tweezers because this is gonna get really hot because there's already one layer of the UTEE, and once it starts melting, it will go faster. So here you see it, and it's just you have the layer of the paint, the paint that we blended together, and you have the white embossing powder, and you have the first layer of UTEE, and now you have a second layer of UTEE. And what is fun about this is that now that it's going to have a thicker layer of embossing powder, you're going to be able to be moving the original embossing powders that were there. So that I mean, like the white embossing powder, you can actually heat it from the top and make it so it moves, and it makes really fun marks in the paper. Here I am gonna start melting again my layers of embossing, and now I'm gonna take my fingers and I'm gonna start dusting off some opaque eggplant color embossing powder, and that's just gonna add another layer of texture, and it's just a beautiful color. I did add a little bit of the Lindy's embossing powder that has some mica, which is kind of fun, but it was hard to see in the camera, so I didn't show it, but I did add it before. So here I'm just using my fingers to add a little bit, and I could have probably added a lot more than this to it to make a bigger difference. Since this, it's like not super attached to the melted one, so I'm gonna heat it from underneath, and there it is. Look how this starts melting and how it starts interacting and how the colors start moving. It is so fabulous, and I feel like every time I heat it up and I try to mix it, the white mix gets a little bit more opaque and more interesting. Here I'm bringing a close-up look. Look at that. Look at, did you see how that purple just like mix with the other colors? Look at this. And how they just you can move them. There's some lines. Look, I like you can move and create lines. Look at that. And that when it dries, it's gonna stay like that. So this is so much fun. So try it out. But it's really important that you use the ultra thick embossing enamel because that's what makes it so all those layers can move around freely. I am using a rubber stamp that has been inked with Versamark ink. Make sure that you do this with a Versamark and a rubber stamp. What I did was I warmed up the UTEE and then press my stamp to create additional texture for my tags. So here I am again, making sure that I'm heating up my UTE, making sure that when it starts moving, I know it is hot enough for to be stamped with the rubber stamp. This adds some great texture. You could do a background stamp. You do have to apply some pressure. So that's what you, and then it just pulls out. Look there. It's beautiful. It is a lot of fun and it has some really, really good texture. From this step, we are ready to start cutting these into tags. These can be easily cut with your paper trimmer or scissors. And here I was about to cut it, but I do recommend that you cut it from the back of the paper and not on the embossed part first because it will crack. And one of them, I do not want any cracks on them. So here it is. And I will be creating 2 tags out of this. I could probably have used a die cut of a tag and that would probably have been okay. But I was in a roll. I didn't want to get out of my chair and break the train of thought and the phone that I was having. So I just brought a pencil, a ruler, and scissors, and I just made a tag. It is not perfect because I didn't measure at all, but it is good enough, and I like it. I do end up doing both of them the same, and what I mean is the same size because I use this one as a template to cut my other tag using just the scissors that you'll see, and you'll see how easy it cuts with scissors. It really is no problem, and I'm not using any special scissors. These are my usual paper scissors. These are my Hello Kitty. You guys probably, if you've been in my channel, you've seen them before. I'm talking about my channel. If you do enjoy the content in my channel, I would really appreciate that you do join me in liking and subscribing to my channel. This video is part of the LV Handcrafted Friends, and we're doing something that is not a card. And I wish that you will follow the entire playlist and follow those all along. And if you like our content, do like and subscribe to the other members of the hub. I am using the long reach crocodile to create some holes and attach some eyelets. These are 2-part eyelets. I apologize. My daughter has the worst allergy right now. So this is a 2-piece eyelet, and I love the way these open up and get attached. Again, I'm using my long reach crocodile to do this. And after I attach these, I decide that I'm going to make them a little bit different one from the other. So one of my tags, I'm going to leave it like this, and the other one I'm going to crunch it up. Usually for crunching it up like this from UTEE, you should have anywhere between 5 to 7 layers, so it's thicker. So this is really thin, that's why it's separating from the paper. So I would say try with a few more layers. Mind you, I do love what happened here because all those cracks, they kind of made holes and they curl within themselves, and I was ecstatic. I was so happy about it. You guys have no idea. Like, this was fun. So to make sure that everyone sees that extra texture, I'm bringing up a kiwi shoe polish in brown and using my finger just to rub that that polish into all the crevices of the cracks and the holes that were created. And at the end, I will clean it up, any excess that I have, and also making sure that I do it like using the polish on the parts that were stamped, so I get the lines. There it is, the lines of the stamp. And I am loving this. Make sure that you check out either the hashtag or the playlist. It's in my description, and you hop along with the rest of the team. We have a blast doing all of this for you. So let us know what you like and what you would love to see. And remember, if you have not followed, just to follow. And remember, don't leave your crafting for tomorrow. Start today.